welcome back to the Crawl Corner. We're here once again in this wonderful ranty corner for all things Formula E. Round number 1 at Shanghai has come to a close, and what could be said about that race? That was really exciting, wasn't it? I loved that. I really enjoyed it. That was such a great race. Really, really good. Those first couple of laps were fast and frantic. No one wanted to lead. Then we had the pit boost scenarios. It looked like some drivers were benefiting, but then they'd used to attack mode, so then they ended up tumbling down the order after we initially thought they were going to do really well. Yeah, it just had a little bit of everything. Even last corner lunges, last lap dramas, it just had it all, and it was very, very exciting. So if you've never seen this series before, I award the drivers out a maximum of 10 points based on their overall race weekend's performance, and I go all the way down to 0 if they have a particularly bad one. Take a look out for bonus points. They're sometimes not for some drivers do something extra special during a race, and on the rare occasion I do award minus points to those drivers do something extra special, but for all the wrong reasons. Let's take a look at the current Crawl Corner standings then going into this episode. It's on the screen now for you to take a look at. Have a look and see where your favourite driver is right now, and based on how well they did this race in particular, can you see them going up? Can you see them going down? First of a double header, of course, so yeah, we'll see what happens in the next race, but this is round 1 we're talking about right now. Ollie Roland at the moment with a commanding lead in not just the real life championship but also in the Crawl Corner. Some other drivers really struggling. Minato on a final warning there in the Nissan. With 5 of the weeks he can make no more mistakes this season, otherwise he will become the first driver this season to be disqualified. So there's a lot to play for in terms of closing the gap to Roland, and a lot to play for drivers towards the bottom of the field just trying to survive this series. So without further ado then, let's kick things off with the race winner then, shall we? Maximilian Gunter. Wow, oh wow, oh wow. And he threw a Maximilian % into that race, didn't he? Pole position, and really did a great job in the race. It looked like at one stage it was looking like it was going to get away from him because he tumbled down to around that 6th, 7th area after the pit boost scenarios played out, but he still had that one attack mode remaining, which was able for him then to get past the other cars. The only car he couldn't quite get past initially was, of course, Ollie Roland, the stalwart of the championship, just winning everything. But yeah, that was the only car he couldn't get around. However, Ollie Roland activated his lap attack mode a lap earlier, so that meant that Maxi Gunter, once he'd ran out of his attack mode ahead, Maxi Gunter was able just to drive around him, bugger off into the distance, and got a 4.5 second lead by come checkered flag. Obviously P2 and everyone else was fighting and dueling behind. He got that gap, broke away, and secured victory. It was a great team strategy by the DS Penske squad to do whatever they could do for Maxi Gunter to always be in the position to win the race, and Maxi Gunter, of course, drove extra sublimely as well to make sure he secured victory. Maxi Gunter, no less than 12 from me. It's 2 bonus points for what was a ridiculously good drive. Even the commentators picked up on it. We've seen this before. We've seen this in the past with Maxi Gunter, where he just has unbeatable days. This was his unbeatable day. If only this could come more often, he'd be like Ollie Roland, wouldn't he? But sadly, he's done really well this race. Not sure how he's going to do the next race, but hopefully he can build on it and he can go forward, but we'll wait and see. But for now, it's 12 points to Maxi Gunter for what has been a fantastic round number 1 at Shanghai. In second place, we come to JeanEric Vern in the second DS Penske. Their first ever 1-2 as a team in any guise throughout the entirety of the Formula E Championship, which I find bonkers, because I'm sure when Vern and Lotterer were there, when it was Techeetah, I'm sure they had a 1-2. Sure they did, but obviously they didn't. So yeah, JeanEric Vern here finishing in P2. A great drive to finish P2, it must be said. Again, a late attack mode, and saved his energy and deployed it towards the end of the race, where he was just like, yeah, I'm 2% up on you. I'm just going to dive bomb you. I'm going to lunge you everywhere. And in those final complex of corners, he did a fantastic double overtake on Taylor Barnard and, of course, Dan Tington. Just a stunning performance there from P4 to P2 in a matter of 2 corners, but got the job done into the first of those to secure a 1-2 and a great effort. But we have to mark him down, I'm afraid, because on lap 2, at the same chicane that he did that impressive double overtake on, he tried to attempt a double overtake on Eduardo Mortara and Nick Cassidy, which dramatically failed, Only for the other two drivers involved, though. So we got into the first complex at the final chicane section, and he dove bomb there. He had two wheels on the grass, and I said to my dad, there's going to be an accident, there's going to be a crash, and there wasn't. But then he got into the second part of it, where you go back onto the start-finish straight, and he dove bomb again. And the driver said, the commentator said, he had a right to be there. Cassidy didn't know he was there. Yeah, but JeanEric Vern knew that Cassidy was there and knew that Mortara was trying to overtake Cassidy, but he still stuck his car up the inside, caused contact with Mortara, which then caused Cassidy to be tipped into a spin, damaged and ruined Mortara's race, damaged and ruined Nick Cassidy's car and race as well. And yeah, JeanEric Vern got no penalty for that. I find that a bit harsh, to be honest. I cannot believe JeanEric Vern was not given a post-race penalty for that. I can't believe it's been deemed a racing incident. And then the sheer cheek of the stewards to go, yeah, Mortara and Cassidy under review for contacts, under investigation. What? What? Why? Why is not Vern? Vern was the one that hit Mortara, that hit Cassidy. So yeah, I'm not very happy with that, to be honest with you. Two of my favourites. Cassidy's had a really shite season. You know how much I love Mahindra, and I think Mortara's been doing a really good job. Look, deserted both those drivers this race in particular. JeanEric Vern got away scot-free in terms of contact at the initial point, and then in terms of no penalty after the race as well, which I find bonkers, to be honest with you. I'd have thought a 5-second time penalty knocking him off the podium would have been sufficient, but no. Here he is finishing P2. So I am knocking him down. He's getting 5 points. He's getting 5 points from me. It was a 10 out of 10 performance, but you can't go making contact with two other drivers, ruining two other drivers' races, and not get any penalty for it. You're getting a penalty on here, Johnny. You might have got a 1-2 for the team, but here you're only getting 5 points, and I would have given you 10. So yeah, there you go. Took two contenders out of the race early, gets a P2. Not good enough. 5 to JeanEric Vern. Lucky he got on the podium, to be honest, because had he not done that last lap overtake on those two cars, it would have been an of the week. So he can be grateful for that. 5 to JeanEric Vern. Third place, we come to Taylor Barnard in the mighty McLaren. Well done, Taylor. Well done indeed. His 5th podium in Formula E to date. What a stunning season he's been having. Puts himself second in the Drivers' Championship now as well, ahead of Pascal Verline. He's just driving so well, isn't it? It'd have been his 6th podium had he not been punted off in last race at Japan in the second race. So I just honestly cannot fault the kid. He's doing so well. Turns 21, or will be 21 now anyway. We'll still 20 at the time of recording. But yeah, he'll be 21 now. So happy birthday, Taylor. And yeah, just an unbelievable run of form that he's having. A run of pole positions, fastest laps, podiums. He's doing them all, and he's doing a really good job. We've just not had that victory yet, have we? We've not quite had that victory. But he's still putting himself in some impressive places, positions, performances, a great overtaking as well, decisive defensive moves. He's just perfect, isn't it? He really is. Taylor Barnard, a star of the future, a star of now, to be honest with you, and he is doing such a great job for that McLaren team. It's 9 points from me for him. Think he could have done a little bit better in qualifying, but apart from that, he's done really, really well. When I say a little bit better in qualifying, I mean obviously he could have got pole. I'd have just liked to have seen him do that, but I don't want to fault a thing really. Stunning performance. 9 to Taylor Barnard. What an effort. 4th place, after looking like he was going to be finishing 2nd, we come to Dan Tington in the first of the Kiro Quid Pro Pro Status Quo. Don't break my heart, my achy breaky hearts. What a turnaround he's had. This podium that he had last time out has just rejuvenated the guy, hasn't it? The team have clearly got on top of that Porsche powertrain now. And I just can't believe how well he's doing. Okay, qualifying 21st, forget about it. What a shocking effort that was, but don't worry about that, because the race, he just comes storming through, looked like he was on for a top 5, and everyone was like, look at that, he's had a great performance. And then he was battling with the likes of Taylor Barnard to try and get that 2nd place, Minato, Ollie Roland, he was fighting with them all, and then JeanEric Vern came steamrolling himself into the final corner, and he lost out to him, and then that put him offline, and then Taylor Barnard nipped round him, and that meant then from 3 corners before the checkered flag, he went from 2nd to 4th place, sadly. Still a great effort, though. Still a great effort. Don't want to mark him down too much. I'm just going to knock a point off for it. But had he been finishing on the podium, it would have been bonus points. And, of course, yeah, you have to say, yeah, in some respects, you have to knock down the qualifying, but it didn't matter, did it? The qualifying didn't matter. There was plenty of overtaking opportunities. Dan Tington made the best of it. Also, a late attack mode adopter saved it till the end, and it worked and paid out dividends. It's 9 points. 9 points to Dan Tington for what was another stunning performance in the Kiro Pro car, and what a stunning drive and stunning season he's having as well. I think he's like top 8 in the standings. It's crazy. Doing really well. Really, really well. 9 to Dan Tington. 5th place, we come to a frustrated Ollie Roland, and in some aspects I'm frustrated with him as well. Yeah, it looked like he was going to be on for a podium, don't get me wrong. You know, Maxi Gunter, we knew he got an extra lap of attack mode, so you think, right, he's just going to feather in and take second. Then he got a bit scruffy, didn't he? Started getting in the mix and started, you know, being overly defensive. Taylor Barnard got round him, he got a bit frustrated with that and tried to hang it round the outside. Then he went wide, and then as a result of him going wide, rather than just letting his teammate Nato through, who was still attacking and still very much on the pace, squeezed him off. Squeezed Norman Nato, his own teammate, off. And that cost Nato 2 places then. So I don't think that was very friendly by Roland in that situation. His teammate Nato trying to do the best he can. Nato's not been there all season long, really, to be helpful to Ollie Roland. And then the moment Nato is there, he's asking Nato for help, which Nato gives him, and then his reward is to push him off the track. Yeah, I mean, if that had been any other competitor, I'd have thought, yeah, fair enough, you've got to defend your position. But when it's Norman, like, just let him through. Let him go after Taylor Barnard. There were a good chance there. Norman Nato had 2% up on everyone else. There's a good chance he could have done what Vern had done had Ollie Roland not done what he'd done to his teammates. So, yeah, I'm going to have to knock Ollie Roland down for that, I'm afraid. I think he cost his team overall a better position. I think he in theory, gained himself 1 place by it because he'd have been finishing P6. But I think Norman Nato could have had a podium there, but was hampered on 2 separate occasions because also in the final closing stages as well, we were focused on the duel and the battle between Vern, Barnard and Tington, and rightly so. But then both of the Nissans went at it again, and again, Roland just shoved Nato off, and I was just like, come on, like, there's no need for this. So yeah, P5 finish. A frustrated P5, I'm sure, but I'm not frustrated with the actual finishing position. I'm frustrated with how he treated Norman. Wanted him to be a wingman, which rightfully so Norman should be, not in chance of the contention of the championship, but then to reward him being a wingman, you go push him off and cost your teammate a potential podium. Yeah, not acceptable. So it's 5 to Ollie Roland. First race I've seen that I've genuinely been frustrated with him by this season so far, which is a shame to say because he's been driving well. And if a poor performance is still P5, then it shows why he's going to be champion this year, doesn't it? But yeah, overly harsh on his teammate, not necessary. 5 to Roland. Then we come to Norman Nato in the Nissan. That's right, it's no Norman Nato in the Nissan. Finally picking up some points for the first time in what feels like a decade. But yeah, could have been so much more, but it was Ollie Roland that cost him, unfortunately. Pushed him off the road twice, one in particular where he lost 2 places, and lost out to JeanEric Vern, the one that then charged through the field. Had to play wingman to Ollie Roland, but I think he could have had a podium. I think he could have had a podium. Had he not been the wingman, necessarily, I still think he should have been the wingman when he was, because obviously Ollie Roland was trying to get Nato to defend from Gunter for as long as possible, so I get that, that's fine. He wasn't in attack mode, Nato. Gunter and Ollie Roland were, fine, but I think after that point then, it should have just been a case of, look, Nato's got 2% more than you, Ollie, let him through and let him try and go for the front. But no, didn't happen, got pushed off, lost a load of places, and that was that, sadly. So, Norman Nato's getting 8 points from me. Remember, he's on a final warning, so he's clearly heeded my final warning for him, because he's here picking up a really good result and getting some good points, and it could have been a lot more. Really could have been a lot more. He'd have been in that battle with Vern and Barnard Tington had it not been for his teammate. So yeah, Norman Nato, I hope he keeps this up. He's on a final warning, of course, so can make no more mistakes, but this wasn't a mistake. This was his teammate doing silly things. 8 to Norman Nato, solid effort, solid drive. Do that again, please, and keep doing it for the rest of the season. Next up, we come to Sam Bird in the second of the McLarens. Yeah, I think it was a solid race overall. Again, one of the ones to save his attack mode for the end, and it played dividends after the pit boost. So, yeah, a good effort. Good effort to pick up some points, solid effort. Still not as good as his teammate Taylor Barnard, but I think even Sam Bird's realising that now. Taylor Barnard, clearly a talent of the future and of now in Formula E, and Sam Bird is ultimately on his way out, I would say, sadly. But that's just a fact of life, isn't it? You have your peaks and your trough in the series. I think Sam Bird should have been a champion. You know, back in the season 1 days especially, just had a lot of bad luck, didn't he? Which was a shame. But yeah, you know, Sam Bird, it was a good all of points here. 6 points for a 7th place finish. Can't really discredit it. It's 7 points to him for that. Didn't do anything wrong. Didn't do anything overly right. Just solid. 7 to Sam Bird. Next up, we come to Nick De Vries in the first of the Mahindras. Shame to say, first of the Mahindras down here in 8th place, but that's that, unfortunately. Mortara, of course, punted off at the start, as we've already mentioned, with Jev. So then that meant De Vries was the Lone Ranger. His second attack mode didn't work out quite well. He was down on energy compared to the cars around him. So even when he was in attack mode, he was still having to lift and coast, couldn't make the progress through the field that he would have liked to have done. But he had to manage his energy and efficiency at that point, sadly. So maybe they'll make a recalculation and get that right for race 2. We shall wait and see. But yeah, he got himself up to like 3rd place, I think, and then was out of attack mode, so then ultimately tumbled down the order as everyone else had extra laps of attack mode extra time left. So that was that, really. Not much can be said. Just, again, a solid performance. Nothing overly special or spectacular. 6.5. 6.5 to De Vries. Had a solid season this season. Mahindra were disappointed with P8. Would have been jumping up and down last season, or a couple of seasons ago at least, for them scoring any points whatsoever in any race. So the fact we're disappointed with 8 shows the progress they have made this season. So fantastic effort by Mahindra to make that turnaround in fortune that they have going into season 11, and it's 6.5 to Nick De Vries. Next up, we come to Sebastian Vettel. Got a black and white flag for forcing another car off track during the race, but we didn't see it actually. So yeah, don't really know, to be honest. Don't really know what that was all about, but here he is picking up a couple of points. At least it's something. Envision scoring points. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. We have to take any opportunities we can get. The wins aren't going to be coming all the time like they did in Monaco, but you know, at least it's 2 points, better than nothing. 6 to Vettel. Not really much else can be said about it. Just once again an Envision performance from Envision. And behind his teammate, it is Robin Fry. It's a double points finish for the Envision squad, 9th and 10th. Not bad, is it? Not bad. Like I say, better than nothing. Better than a kick in the teeth. Better than a pointless weekend again. And of course, clearly matched the teammate, didn't they? Robin Fry's 10th. Boemi 9th. You can't really say much fairer than that. To be fair, the Envisions really didn't look like they were in the mix at all, to be fair. And I don't think that was all down to the driver. I think that was the team and the strategy as well. So again, 6 points to Frights. Thank me for those. Yeah, that's that really. Nothing else to add. Envision, that one win, that one moment of elation, just returns back down to usual Envisionness. Just outside the points, we come to the first of the Maseratis in Stoffel Van Dorn. No points for the Maserati squad this race around. Yeah, very disappointing. Very disappointing. I don't really know what else to say, to be honest. Suboptimal is how their season's gone so far. They're really, really struggling. I expected more from the lineup they had. I expected more from them as a team. Remember when they had the pace in that car and then just didn't get the results because of the drivers? Now it looks like they've not got the car, but they've got the drivers potentially. But then sometimes the drivers are just under-delivering as well. It's a difficult one to work out. So a bit like Envision, isn't it? Yeah, middle row 5 I've gone for Van Dorn. I don't think he did overly wrong anything this race in particular. I don't think he's done anything overly right. Should have potentially been points, wasn't. Just misses out by a position. Yeah, 5 points. 12th place, we come to Pascal Verline in the first of the Porsches. Wow. Wow, oh wow, no points for Porsche. No points for Porsche. That is staggering, to say the least. I don't know if it was a strategy error, strategic gamble that went wrong. I think they used both their attack modes earlier than the others, didn't they? So that didn't initially work out well. So then just tumbled out the points from there. But yeah, P12. You'd have thought a Porsche powertrain would be able to hold on to something, though. You know, Dan Tington's there finishing in 4th. Yeah, Porsche with nothing. Porsche with nothing. So yeah, 4.5 to Verline. Loses out to 2nd place in the championship at the moment with Taylor Barnard finishing ahead of him, of course, now. So it's very tight for 2nd place. I mean, not that it matters being a vice champion, but yeah, you get the word champion in it, I suppose. But it's not the overall championship, is it? But yeah, Pascal Verline, 4.5 to him. Not much else can be said. And again, finishing behind his teammate, we come to Antonio Felix da Costa in the other Porsche. Yeah, just no pace or strategic play that worked out particularly well for Porsche this weekend. Da Costa again, nothing really wrong, nothing really right. Matches his teammate here. Nothing else can be said. Again, it's 4.5, a suboptimal performance for a Porsche team that should be inside the points, well inside the points at every opportunity, to be honest. If they're not inside the top 8, they've done something wrong. Well, something's gone wrong here, hasn't it? 13th place. Unlucky for some, and really an unlucky race for Porsche overall. A lot of head scratching, I can imagine. 4.5 to Costa. Next up, we come to David Beckman in the second of the status quo, quid pro quo, Heroes, don't break my heart, achy breaky heart. And there we have it, Lotterer of the Week to David Beckman, unfortunately. Yes, he's still a rookie in the field, but look at what his teammate Dan Tington is doing with a clearly improved Kiro car now. And, you know, Tington is finding his feet, finding the energy, finding the efficiency within the car. He's playing the strategic game well. The team clearly know what they're doing strategic-wise as well. So David Beckman is lacking now compared to his teammate, and we're halfway through the season, more than halfway through the season, in fact. And it's just not working out particularly well for him, is it? So unfortunately, it has to be an of the week to him. He should be scoring points. I'm not saying he should be up there fighting for podiums like Tington. Tington's had a good few years in the sport, understands and knows the team well. He's getting on top of the energy. He can work his way around a Formula E car, let's say that. Beckman's still getting up to speed, but I think the pace of that car now and what it's shown in the last couple of weekends in particular, where Tington's been scoring the points and, of course, that podium, I think Beckman should have had points by now, and we're still here 14, 4 places away. It's a shame, it really is. So yeah, David Beckman unfortunately has to be an of the week to him for that. Just clearly lacking in potentially all areas, I'm not sure. But hopefully they can work together. You know, Dan Tington can help him. I'm sure he is behind the scenes. The team can understand it, and hopefully he can get some points. And he needs them soon, to be honest. He really does need them soon, because Kiro need all the points they can get to try and maintain their 9th in the driver's team standings. I think they're going to be fighting for ultimately. Could maybe scrape 8th if the likes of Maserati and Envision keep under-delivering from now on after their win apiece. But yeah, you just don't know, do you? So yeah, the Kiro team need Beckman to start scoring points, and that's why it's an of the week to him. Then we come to the first of the Andrettis in Nico Muller. Initially looked like it had worked out well for Nico Muller, hadn't it? He was the first to take the pit boost, came out ahead of the pit boost gaggle, and looked to be doing well, but he'd used all of his attack modes. So then at the second half of that race, after the pit boost and after everyone else had taken their pit boost, they all immediately drove into the attack mode on pit exit pretty much anyway, and then just drove past him because he'd already used his attack modes. And here he is tumbling down to 15th place. So that shows you how crucial it is to keep that attack mode for the end, especially during a pit boost race. So yeah, big disappointment. 4 to Muller. I don't think the strategic gamble was particularly worked out well. I'm not blaming Muller for that, but obviously you see the performances further up the field and you think, yeah, he deserves knocking down a point or two, doesn't he? And unfortunately, P15 in an Andretti is not a great result. So it's 4 to Muller. Probably more strategy down to himself this race, but again, just a unfortunate set of circumstances, and I can't go awarding sympathy points. 4 for Muller. Next up we come to Jake Hughes in the Maserati. Seeing him so far down here is becoming a really common thing now, isn't it? And that's a shame to say. I like Jake. I liked the fact he'd gone to Maserati. I think it was a good solid move. He picked up that podium early in the season and we thought, right, he can keep the momentum going from here, but now there's just no points on offer at all for him, is there? I couldn't even tell you the last time he scored points, which is a huge shame. It really is. Yeah, Hughes, it's 2 points. It's 2 points. I didn't really have any focus on his race, to be honest with you. The battle was very much in the top half of the field. I can't ever remember seeing Jake at any point in that top half. I think he was always trying to play catch-up, and maybe the strategy was compromised as well. But yeah, ultimately it's 2 points to Jake. A very, very poor season after that one podium that we thought was going to boost his career. But yeah, big shame. Let's see what race 2 offers for him, but I think it's going to be a struggle again. Then we come to Jake Dennis in the second of the Andrettis. Again, like his teammate, he's getting 4 points. There's nothing really else to say, to be honest. Again, potentially just poor pace from the Andrettis, taking the attack modes early. It just doesn't work out and you tumble like a stone towards the end. He sort of got himself in the mix very briefly, didn't he? Very briefly, but then, like I said, faded away when everyone else took their second attack modes and he'd already used all of his. So, yeah, Jake Dennis, 4 to him. That's that, really. Tough day at the office once again for the Andretti squad. There seems to be no consistency at the moment between a lot of teams. You know, they just can't consistently get themselves inside the points regularly. There's only really Ollie Roland doing it solo, to be honest, and Taylor Barnard as well when he's not being punted off. But there's not really a team doing it with both drivers. regularly enough, and that's weird. So yeah, 4 points to Jake Dennis, and that's that. Then we come to Lucas Degrassi in the first of the Lola Apt Yamaha cars, I think, anyway, whichever way round they go. But yeah, Degrassi, he was an early adopter of the attack modes and an early adopter of the pit boost as well. And again, it looks like it works out quite well, doesn't it? He gets a bit of telly time. He's running inside the top 5, looking like he's doing a great job, and then just tumbles down the pack as a result, unfortunately. Yeah, strategic gamble as always went wrong. Taking the attack modes early, taking the pit boost early means you're then down on power towards the end of the race, of course. You've got longer to do with less energy. And yeah, just a shame. Just a shame, to be honest. We thought at one point maybe the Lolas could scrape into the points, but as we know, faded away. And that's that. So it's 6. Solid 6 to Degrassi. The team, of course, aren't on pace, as we know, with the other cars around them. So that's why they're getting a couple more points to make up for that deficit, because realistically, points aren't always possible. This race maybe looked like had they done the strategic gamble, maybe play one car one way, play another car another, maybe could have scraped a point. But other than that, I think it was very unlikely. 6 to Degrassi. And behind his teammate once again. They all come in 2x2 pretty much today, don't they? Hurrah, hurrah. We come to Zayn Maloney again in the second of the Lola Apt Yamahas. Again, I think at some stages he was running inside the top 10, but again, used the 2 attack modes early, pit boosted early. That looked like initially it worked out well, but then just tumbled away. This is pretty much the same story for everyone, isn't it, really, that are outside the points. They sort of were in the mix at one stage, but just faded away. Again, it's a solid 6 to Maloney, of course. Couple of points extra to compare to the likes of what I scored. Andretti, just for the simple fact they've got a poor equipment, poorer machinery, and the points would have been unlikely anyway, but there may have been options for them. But yeah, Zayn Maloney, 6 points to him. Didn't do anything wrong. Just, again, nothing special, but still very much a learning year for the Lola squad. Next up, we come to Mitch Evans in the first of the Jaguars. My, oh my, oh my. Simple one this, it's 6 points to him. Slightly above average score. He was out before the race even began. 80 place grid drop. So, of course, served whatever he could after qualifying, started at the back, and then had to serve a 10-second stop-go penalty at the first opportunity, which he did do. No safety car intervention meant he was half a lap behind for the rest of the race, and that was that. Race over, game over, unfortunately. We're very much relying on a safety car that didn't come from that moment on, and yeah, wasted race, really, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's that, unfortunately. 6 to Mitch Evans. What a disaster of a season for the Jaguar squad, or as a whole, really. And once again, behind his teammate, we come to Nick Cassidy in the second Jaguar. Qualified himself inside the top 5. Fantastic effort in that sense. Was running round in the early stages inside that top 5 and then got absolutely harpooned by JeanEric Vern, who ploughed into the side of Mortara. Courtesy then, it ploughed into the side of Nick Cassidy. Tipped him into a spin. Great recovery to do a 360 and continue immediately on, but tumbled to the back of the grid. Then had to make a pit stop to repair a puncture. I think the tyre was punctured after the contact with Mortara, sadly. And yeah, race over, race ruin from there. Again, half a lap behind, could do nothing. And yeah, race ruin courtesy of JeanEric Vern, who doesn't take a penalty. And I think that's very unfair. I really, really do. So it's 6 again to Nick Cassidy. 6 points to him as well. Race ruined in lap 2, no fault of his own. A victim of circumstance, and the driver that caused it suffered no penalty. Disappointing, that. 6 to Nick Cassidy. And then last but by no means least, we come to the only DNFer in the race, and this is Eduardo Mortara. And again, a victim of lap 2 and being JeanEric Vern. JeanEric Vern dove up the inside, made contact with Mortara, which in turn made contact with Nick Cassidy. Tipped Cassidy into a spin. Mortara had to pit initially for what he thought was a puncture and a replacement of a front wing. Was almost a lap down by the time they finished all of that, and then towards the closing stages decided to retire the car. Mortara's problems were getting worse, and they then realised he got a bent wishbone, so he was never going to have a good race from there, unfortunately, and there's no point damaging the car further, so they boxed to retire the car in the closing stages. A maximum retirement driver can score is 5, and that's exactly what he's getting. Mortara's getting 5 points, was punted off out of the race in the earliest opportunity, which was a great shame. Lap 2, out of the race effectively, and trundling round the back for the remainder before he retired. Big shame. 5 to Mortara. Yeah, still a shame I'm still adamant it's a shame that Vern, despite all his great efforts to get into P2, was not given a 5-second time penalty, because I think that would have been a just penalty. It kept him inside the points, but he would have lost the podium, and I think that would have been fair, because he took 2 contenders out. Mortara could have been in that pack, and of course Cassidy could have been as well. Yeah, big shame, but there you go. That's Formula E for you. 5-2 Mortara. So then, guys, those were the runners and riders of the Shanghai E-Prix round number 1 here in China, of course. Let me know down in the comment section, just got any drivers too high, any too low. The updated standings with the scores I've just awarded are on the screen now for you to take a look at. Now have a look and see where your favourite driver is. Ollie Roland still sits pretty at the top, but the gap is closing after my mediocre score of him and what I thought of his performance with his teammate. No, Minato survives disqualification this time around, but of course any slight errors from him for the remainder of the season will see him out. What a tale of 2 fortunes for the Nissan squad, eh? 1 down at the bottom, 1 up at the top. Yeah, there's a lot of mixes and movers, points is plenty, and we're going to look forward to see how race number 2 gets on. I'm really interested in the tipping rain, aren't they? Tipping rain, so they're potentially going to be moving the time as well, starting it earlier or later, I can't remember. But yeah, rain for the second race could be really interesting, so looking forward to that. But yeah, there's your scores on the screen anyway. Take a good look, because I'm sure it'll be all change come the next episode. And massive thanks as always goes out to JW97 Joe, of course, of JW Talks Motorsport YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your continued support with the series, buddy, for his scoreboard that you saw on your screen, and for the driver icons you see in the corner of your screen as I talk about them as well. This series will be more pointless than it already is without him. So thank you so much, Joe. And thank you all for watching, as always. Really appreciate it, guys, for the love and support with the series. And I'll see you all again. It'll be Wednesday, won't it? Because we've got Formula 1. So this one's going out Monday, Tuesday Formula 1, and Wednesday will be the second Formula E race video as well. So see you all then. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and as always, much love.